Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. Bail Amendment Bill gets the all-clear after marathon debate in the Upper House. World Bank representatives propose a portable assets registry for economic growth. And the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development signs multiple loan agreements courtesy the IDB. Thank you so much for joining us. A mission from the World Bank visiting Trinidad and Tobago has suggested the establishment of a portable assets registry if it is to encourage business among the small and medium enterprise sector to reap economic growth. The report was presented during a press conference held at the Trade Ministry on Tuesday.
Efforts to make the ease of doing business here in Trinidad and Tobago will look to establish a movable assets registry. This as a mission visiting TNT from the World Bank seeks to engage in areas of reform that would have a transformational impact on the economy while making it competitive simultaneously. While the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment is said to be spearheading this rapid change through improvements to the time taken to conduct a number of transactions involved in the setting up of a business, the ministry continues to involve itself in boosting its world rankings in a move to continue attracting foreign investors. Minister Vasan Bharat says the World Bank identification of these global indicators will suggest the areas needed for improvement.
Many of these projects have to have significantly started and made significant improvement by May of 2014, and that is the time frame that we've given to the World Bank to ensure that we can create that transformation that is actually required to bump us up into the top 50 and to create the enabling environment and put Trinidad and Tobago on the map as an attractive destination for both foreign and local direct investment.
In 2013, the World Bank's report highlighted the upward movement in Trinidad and Tobago's credit rating and its international perception among foreign investors as one of the highest in the Caribbean region. So far, the bank recognizes changes implemented that have made an impact on TNT's rankings.
This is really putting Trinidad on a very promising path, and in the context where many Caribbean countries are struggling with several years in many cases of low growth, and trying to do the same, trying to identify reforms that can really help their investment climate become a booster of growth instead of an obstacle. What's happening here is really good to see.
But how are these steps going to make the impact on the economy that will lead to benefits redounding to the average citizen? Director of Finance and Private Sector for Latin America and the Caribbean, Marilisa Mota, explains how this will be implemented and achieve the desired results needed to grow the economy at all business levels.
What happens is actually that the flows of import and export grow. And so the companies from Trinidad that are based in Trinidad and Tobago can actually increase their revenues, increase their profits.
The World Bank Group has Trinidad and Tobago categorized as a high-income country with gross national income at $14,400 per capita. Kimberam Calawan, News 4.
The Caribbean Climate Innovation Center has been launched with offices in Trinidad and Tobago as well as in Jamaica. The center is expected to produce and facilitate potential responses to the issue of climate change, among other issues.
Climate change is a problem for all of us, the government, private sector, academia, and civil society. And we must tackle them all together. And we must do so in a sustainable way.
The Caribbean Climate and Innovation Center will engage entrepreneurs in a space where viable commercial solutions can be achieved through engagement, incubation, nurturing, and support for the creation of sustainable businesses related to the relevant topic of climate change. Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, Senator Dr. The Honorable Buhindranath Tiwari, was speaking at the launch of the CCIC and the Center for Enterprise Development in Freeport on Tuesday. The Honorable Minister said between US $700 million and US $3.3 billion have been spent in the CARICOM region over the last 3 decades as a result of natural disasters causing extreme weather events.
The issue of climate change is the main global environmental concern amongst all other environmental issues. And increasingly, it is being linked with poverty eradication. Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the other Caribbean islands, as small island developing states, is highly vulnerable to the consequences of climate change. Sea level rise is a concern, as most of our islands are below sea level. Global warming, which impacts our oceans, marine life, and tourism, has an immediate impact and a long-term impact. Hillside erosion, loss of coastal and terrestrial habitats are all consequences that can seriously destroy our livelihoods.
In June 2013, the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute, which falls under the ambit of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, collaborated with the Scientific Research Council of Jamaica in an agreement with the World Bank for the execution of Phase 1 of this 5-year project. In Phase 1, the CCIC will be focused on assisting organizations and entrepreneurs with venture acceleration, technology commercialization, and market development. Representing the Jamaican government was the Honorable Philip Paulwell, Minister of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining. Addressing the audience, Minister Paulwell said that the impacts of climate change were very real and destructive, and reminded the audience of recent regional and global events as a result of adverse weather conditions.
In recent years, we have seen a marked increase in the frequency and ferocity of hurricanes and typhoons, and over the past decades, the world has experienced some of the hottest temperatures on record. In fact, according to a recent survey from the Associated Press, both the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Agency, NASA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, have agreed that 9 of the 10 warmest years on record have occurred so far in the 21st century, claiming that 2010 was the hottest and 2013 the 4th hottest. It could easily be said, therefore, that we are living in a world of extremes: too hot or too cold, too dry or too wet, with the frequency of reports compelling even the most vocal skeptics to acknowledge that climate change may just be real.
The development of the CCIC is in keeping with other initiatives of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development. Currently, through the Council of Competitiveness and Innovation, support for entrepreneurialism has been given through the Idea 2 Innovation Grant mechanism started in 2012, of which to date over 100 entrepreneurs have received funding and technical support to develop their ideas. The Center for Enterprise Development has also been an initiative of the Planning Ministry through Kariri as a physical space to promote innovative business development and entrepreneurship. Linking these institutions, namely the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center and the Center for Enterprise Development, further enables the enhancement of the innovative capacity of our people to support climate change-related solutions, such as energy efficiency, solar energy projects, and agribusiness. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Coming up after the break, 4 agreements signed with the IDB. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Trinidad and Tobago will receive in excess of US $159 million following the signing of 4 agreements with the Inter-American Development Bank. The funds are expected to contribute significantly to a number of shortfalls the country is currently faced with.
Specifically today, we will be signing the loan contract for $120 million for flood alleviation and drainage program. The loan contract for $18 million for the Global Services Promotion Program, the loan contract for a $20 million program for strengthening of information management at the Registrar General's Department, and a letter of agreement for $1.5 million to finance a health services support program under the Project Preparation and Execution Facility, and what we call PROPEF within the bank.
Ms. Gross-Fenty said it was with a great sense of satisfaction and anticipation that she joined with the Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development and Trinidad and Tobago's Governor for the IDB to sign 3 loan contracts and 1 letter of agreement.
The signing of these documents marks the culmination of months of collective hard work by various IDB teams and, of course, their counterparts within the government, both at the ministerial level and, of course, the technical level.
The agreements total US $159.1 million and will go a long way in ensuring there is sustainable development within the country. Minister Tiwari believes the flood alleviation loan will assist tremendously in solving an issue that has plagued the country for years. An opportunity will also be presented to undertake social programs at East Port of Spain with the funds. Meanwhile, Minister Tiwari said the ProPEF program is an invaluable contribution to the upliftment of the health sector.
It is a small loan, 1.5 million US, but it is part of a larger endeavor. If we were to do this well and take the steps which we are required to follow, we will end up with a master plan. We will end up with a national non-communicable diseases plan for Trinidad and Tobago, with a human resources plan for the health sector, and the coordination of the public-private partnership process for a national diagnostic center.
The Honourable Minister also commented on the Global Services Promotion Programme, which is envisioned to increase investment, exports and employment in the IT and e-services sectors.
We expect that at the end of the program, let's say within the next 5 years, there will be a 75% increase in the exports of the benefiting companies, that we will employ about 1,700 people who will be trained in the industry and create just over 1,000 jobs in the system. We might train close to 2,000 and end up with about 1,000 permanent jobs in the system. The program will, of course, promote diversification of the national economy and innovation through the use of information technology. It will promote closer collaboration between the public and private sectors, with the private sector taking the lead role in the development and implementation of the program, and the public sector providing the policy environment and part of the governance structure.
Citizens are expected to soon witness several developments coming out of these agreements, with generations to come poised to benefit. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
After marathon debate in the Senate, the Bail Amendment Bill 2013 was passed in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Prior to the passage, Attorney General Anand Ramlogan underscored the reasoning for the changes and the need to support the key legislation that is expected to put a dent in criminal activity.
The Bail Amendments Bill got the required votes to pass in the upper house on Tuesday. However, before the bill could get the votes, Attorney General Anand Ramlogan, spearheading the bill in the Senate, sought a discussion of key changes to the bill, leading to its approval. He explained the reasoning behind a 120-day bail limit.
The people who are sometimes the most dangerous are the ones who are convicted, but they're out on bail, and because they're convicted, but they're out on bail, they tell you will come back in a month time for the sentencing. Now, during that time, the man goes home, he realizes now his status has changed. He's now a convicted criminal. In other words, me are nothing to lose, boss. I'm going to enjoy them next days and spree. I want to go fet, check my young girl them and relax. Because I know I go inside, I have a strong chance, I might go inside after. That's the mentality and the thinking. So that during the period of that interregnum, you'll find that it's a very, from what has been advised, it's a very dangerous time for the society. And its risk exposure is very high in relation to that kind of person. And if you think about it, we're all human beings. If you're convicted and the judge adjourn sentencing, and you go home and come back in a month time to be sentenced, you really think some of you might go to church and think, but others wouldn't.
One of the areas that remains unchanged is the charges laid according to the items involved in the receipt of stolen goods. Adrian Logan says this will make an impact on Pradia Larceny.
I want to make the point that under these acts, these are the more serious offences, and what is exempt is a whole wash of offences that do not attract such a serious and severe penalty of 10 years imprisonment or more. So we have put the bar very, very high. Pradia Larceny is a matter that's affecting the economy in a serious way. It discourages people who will make investments in agriculture, but the hard sweat.
Under the bill, offences were broadened to ensure serious crimes were tackled and perpetrators are arrested if found guilty.
If you look at the schedule and you look at the acts themselves, I mean, looking at the Firearms Act, the Larceny Act, Malicious Damage Act, Sexual Offences Act, the Children's Act, Sexual Offences Act, again, offences against the person, Dangerous Drugs Act, Trafficking in Persons, Senator Drayton. I believe it was Senator Drayton who made the point about human trafficking, so we've included that. I'm just saying, Senator Drayton, I've included human trafficking as you had asked, so that's included in the schedule. And we are perverting the course of justice, defeating the course of justice, and any attempt. And we have reduced, and I should point out as well, you would see that we have in Clause 6 reduced the period of time for the sunset clause from 3 years downwards.
The bill was passed with 15 government senators and 7 independents voting for the changes. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
Sport news is next when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back to some sport news now. Trinidad and Tobago national footballer Kenwyne Jones has sealed a move in the English Premier League from Stoke City FC to Welsh team Cardiff City. The striker joined Cardiff in a swap deal which sees Nigerian forward Peter Odemwingie move the other way from Cardiff to Stoke. Cardiff manager and former Manchester United striker pursued Jones, whom he believes has the firepower to help lift the team out of the relegation zone. A statement on the club's website welcomed Kenwyne, saying, open quote, Cardiff City Football Club are delighted to announce that Kenwyne Jones moved from Stoke City to the club and has today been finalized, subject to FA clearance. The striker will be available for selection for the first time this Saturday in the Barclays Premier League home game against Norwich City, end quote. Jones became Stoke's recorded signing in August 2010 when he joined from Sutherland from the team's then recorded transfer fee of £8 million. He went on to score 26 goals in 115 appearances for the Potters. He joins Manchester United defender Fabio De Silva, who is also set to sign for Cardiff, and another Manchester United player, Fayed Zaha, who is set to join the Welsh team on loan. For the Carnival is up next, and that's all for sports. Stay with us.
Meet the Kissoons. It's Saturday, and everyone has to do their part to clean the house. Everything was flowing perfectly until... Daddy, where do you want to go? No. Don't let this happen to you. Pay your bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it. Sustain it.
Hundreds of party lovers got their money's worth at the Stomped Cooler Fete at the Queen's Park Oval. As the carnival season continued to heat up, revelers jumped to the pulsating songs of soca hits, both from DJs and live performances. Staged by popular mass Juve band Red Ants, the event featured products and displays as well as an engaging set of soca music played by popular DJs. From as early as 10 p.m., cooler-carrying teams streamed into the venue from near and far, and by midnight, the dance floor became a gridlock sea of bodies and beverage holders. Inside the venue was ram-packed. This as even the friendly scalpers were begging patrons for their tickets and finding it rather difficult to make their annual hustle and even entry. Now, to be honest, with the number of people that were present, I thought there would have been a more evident atmosphere of vibe. That element felt somewhat absent. Now don't get me wrong, the vibes rose when the DJs present played some of the 2014 contributions. Nevertheless, Carnival continued in earnest as thousands of fete-loving patrons assembled at the Queen's Park Oval. Live performances always changed the game as far as getting the crowd hyped, and this lineup was no exception. First up to entertain the crowd was the roly-poly man himself, Mr. Killer. Following Mr. Killer came the Viking of Soca, Bunji Garlin, who has been having a great season thus far. There were those who came just to relax in the shadows of the Oval while being entertained by their favorite performers.
I only reached a little while ago, so we're now getting into the vibes. I just found my friends, so we're gonna have some fun.
Who are you here with tonight?
I'm here with probably the best set of lifers in half for Carnival time.
We even sought to find out what some patrons had inside their coolers. Despite the loud music, we were able to get some answers.
What do you have inside of your cooler? Everything. What do you have inside of your cooler? Absolutely everything. It's like an absolute bar installed inside of there. There's a bartender inside of there as well if you like.
And this Bajan said that she was having a great time.
I'm a Bajan.
And how are you enjoying Trinidad Carnival?
I love it. I'm playing with Tribe, and Carnival Tuesday is on my birthday.
Stomp was once again a success, helping us get more and more anxious for the notorious Monday and Tuesday, where everyone can just have the best time of their life. And that's how we wrap up our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.